Hello world and welcome back to another episode of Botania, where today we're going to be covering some new functional flowers now that we have unlocked the ability to use pixie dust, as well as some brand new interesting apparatus, natural apparatus, that we've also unlocked. Starting off with the flowers, there are only a few that we actually have now unlocked, starting with the Bubbell. The Bubbell is crafted with 2 blue petals, 2 light blue petals, 2 cyan petals, a piece of pixie dust, 1 water rune, and 1 rune of summer inside of your petal apothecary, and what this does is actually creates a 12 block wide dome underwater. Now I've gone and set this up in the ocean environment, as you can see here. Now, in order for this to work, the Bubbell cannot be placed on sand. I'm right clicking here, it doesn't work. It must be placed on dirt, as you see here. But also it's a little bit hard to set up, as you have to create an air pocket for the Bubbell to work first. Now, in order for the Bubbell to actually create this force field, you need a constant stream of mana. So if I take this away, eventually all of the mana will be used up inside of the Bubbell, and then obviously the dome will disappear. And just like that, the mana is disappearing from inside the Bubbell and all the water is slowly returning. And as you can see, the water has broken up the Bubbell itself. So as you can see, it's a little bit of a pain. You can't place this down in water, otherwise it will be removed. So you do have to sort of clear an air pocket first for it to be actually able to work. So here I am inside of my little air pocket. It might be a little bit dark, but hopefully I can brighten it up on the recording. I'll place this down, I'll place this back down. We keep this in bind mode. We now bind the Bubbell to this everlasting portal here. And then when I go outside, we have got our dome ready again. Now, as you can see here, the seagrass and kelp and stuff, they all require water to live, so it doesn't actually remove it in those areas. So if you want it fully clear, you are going to have to remove all this stuff and it will instantly be evaporated while the Bubbell is active. Next up, we have the Heisei Dream. This is made using 2 magenta petals, 1 pink petal, 1 purple petal, a pixie dust, and a rune of wrath. And what this is going to do is any mobs within inside of its area are going to turn into basically angry mobs and are actually going to fight each other. So if we take ourselves some spider's eggs here and then let's say turn it to normal mode, if I start placing down these spiders inside the area, they're going to get very angry and start fighting each other. So this is a good way of, say you have a dark room mob spawner sort of thing, you could place this inside and they'll actually kill each other themselves, so you don't have to worry about a drop or anything. It'll be a bit louder, and obviously if they get too far away from the Heisei Dream, then they will stop fighting, but it's still pretty cool. Now, using the Mana Seal monocle, we can see that this has quite a large area of effect when actually using this. Next up, we have the Loonium. The Loonium is made using 4 green petals, 1 redstone roots, 1 pixie dust, 1 grey petal, 1 rune of envy, 1 rune of gluttony, and 1 rune of sloth. This is probably the only flower that I think you actually require 10 different items in order to actually craft. Now, when you create this, what it's going to do is actually start spawning mobs as if it was a dungeon spawner. However, the added caveat is instead of it just dropping regular drops, these mobs are going to drop dungeon tier loot. Now, what this means is any sort of item that you can get in the chests within dungeons, these mobs are actually going to have them with them. So if I place this down here, as you can see, it's got quite a large area since I've already got the monocle on as well. And then we have to link this obviously to our thing, and we'll start getting these mobs spawning. You can see here, anything with these sort of particles, they are spawned with these added effects. Now they're a little bit more powerful, as you can see. Oh god, creepers. Yep, creepers are the one thing you do have to worry about, so you can't do a proper sort of farm with this. But these guys, if you kill them, they will drop some higher tier loot. They can drop ingots, they can drop scrolls from other mobs, they can drop many things. The next flower is the Orechid Ignem. The Orechid Ignem is very similar to the regular orchid, except it works in the nether. Now this is crafted using 2 redstone petals, 2 white petals, a pink petal, a pixie dust, a redstone root, 1 rune of greed, and 1 rune of pride. Now, in order for the orchid to work, first you're going to need to actually be in the nether. And inside the nether, again, you are going to have to place this onto dirt. You can't place this directly on netherrack, but as you can see, we have quite a large area of effect with this as well. So we have ourselves a pool here. If I now link this up with our Wander the Forest, what this is going to do is now start very loudly turning netherrack into netherrack type ores. Obviously, we are in a mostly vanilla pack, really, so it's only really going to do gold and quartz. But if you had any other type of mod pack installed that is configured, obviously we see here Inferium Essence isn't configured, so that's not actually coming into the spawn here. And just like that, we even got a little bit of ancient debris. So this is a big way of you can actually get ancient debris. There's another piece there. So it can be quite OP if you manage to get this early on in your game. The last flower we actually have is the Spectranthemum. The Spectranthemum is made with 2 white petals, 2 light grey petals, a cyan petal, a pixie dust, a redstone root, a rune of water, and a rune of envy. Now what this does, it allows you to teleport items up to 12 blocks away. Now if we put our little mana seer thing on here, what we're going to see is 2 different things. We're going to have one light area, as you can see in the beginning, and then a wider area on the edge. The bigger area inside this area here, this is the suction area. This is the area that this block or this flower is going to pick up blocks and items. The lighter area, or the darker area, sorry, faded area, is going to be the area that this can actually transport up to. So this can obviously transport anything up to 12 blocks, which is about where that other flower is. Now, in order for this to actually work, we are going to have to first make sure our Wander the Forest is in bind mode, place down our Spectranthemum, and then bind it to a pool, of course, to get mana. So we have this bound. Now in bind mode, you want to right click and then right click on another block as well, as you can see here. Now if we throw down our grass block here, we can see that it tucks up and places it over here. This can unfortunately not put things into inventories. However, what you can do is bind it to the hopper itself. Then when it's placed down, it will drop it on top of the hopper will pick it up, and then it will go into the chest, as you see here. Now there are a couple of things that you can't actually transport with this thing. I'm going to take that monocle off because it hurts my eyes. The couple of things this cannot transport. It cannot transport items that have already been transported, and it also cannot transport anything that has mana inside of it. So I can't actually transport my mana tablet as it's got mana inside of it, and it can also not transport another grass block that's already been transported. So if I take this block over here and I have it transported to this one, now I've got this one transported over to that hopper over there. What's going to happen is I'm going to throw this down, it's going to pick it up, and it's going to drop it directly on top of that flower. However, this flower is not going to pick it up because this item has already been transported. However, there's something clever you can do, which is sort of resetting it being transported, and that's by putting it through an inventory. So if I now have this wand, this flower first set to the top of this hopper, what we can do is have an open crate underneath it to drop it straight down. This means we're not going to need a dispenser with a redstone signal, and what we can do is we can place this on top of here. It's going to pick it up, put it on top of the hopper's then going to drop it, it's going to be picked up by the next one, and it's go over to the next flower, as you can see here, and then it gets picked up again, and then eventually it will end up inside of this inventory here, just like so. So there's a sneaky way of actually getting around the system. It is still pretty slow. It probably is better to use, say, if you have Mechanism installed, use pipes or something. It would be a lot faster, but if you're playing with purely Botania, this is quite a cool way of doing it instead of having to use water and basically the flower that blows stuff around. Moving on from flowers, now we're going to show some of the natural apparatus that you can actually get inside of the pack when you are at this pixie stage. First thing is going to be the Alfglass Flask. This is made using 3 pieces of Alfglass, and you get 3 of these per craft. Now what these are, we've discussed this in a previous tutorial where we talked about actually making different potions, as you can see over here. Now the flasks are an upgrade from the vials, meaning you can get a couple more uses out of each brew that you have made. Next up, we have a upgrade to the Alchemy Catalyst, and this is the Conjuration Catalyst. This is made using 3 pieces of Elementium ingots, the Alchemy Catalyst itself, 1 pixie dust, and 4 living rock. Now, placing this underneath any sort of mana pool is a way of essentially duplicating items. However, you cannot duplicate all things. It's mainly dusts and leaves, maybe, things that aren't really particularly too overpowered. Looking inside the entry, we can have a look at the other things that we can do. We can do obviously redstone, glowstone, quartz, coal, snowballs, netherrack, soul sand, gravel, leaves of any kind, and grass. There's all the things you can duplicate. But if we get ourselves some, say, redstone here, what we do is just simply throw it into the pool, and we get 2 for the price of 1. So we can literally hold down Q here and just constantly spawn it out. Obviously, this is going to use quite a fair bit of mana, so you probably can't do it this way, but hopefully you'll never need to go mining for redstone or coal ever again. Next up, we have something that's in the auto crafting for inside of Botania. First, we're going to need to learn how to use these dreamwood planks, which we got from obviously the Alf dimension. First, we're going to need to put our dreamwood down. This is going to give us 4 planks, as you would with any sort of regular Minecraft. Next, using these dreamwood planks and a crafting table, you are going to be able to make the Crafty Crate. This is very similar to the other type of crate that open crate that we had previously. However, you're going to be able to craft things first instead of having things just obviously automatically drop through. Now, something else you're going to need is the crafting placeholder. This is made with 1 living rock and a crafting table, and you'll actually get 32 of these in total. Now, how does this work? Now, this one here, I've actually got a filter on it, which is something I don't want at the moment. So let's place a fresh one down. So this one here is a completely brand new crate. Now, when you right click on it, it doesn't have an inventory, but if you hold your Wander the Forest over it, you can see that there's this little outline there showing you how to make things. So in order for actually to get blocks in and out, you're going to need a hopper, as you can see here, and once it's finished crafting, it's going to drop things out the bottom. So that's how about we make a diamond pickaxe here. For that, obviously, we're going to need 3 diamonds and 2 sticks. However, this is going to be a little bit different way of doing things. So I'm going to get my resources here, which I actually already have saved, and then we're going to need to actually have some of these placeholders as well. Now, in order to make this work, first let's chuck in 3 diamonds. 1, 2, 3. And as you can see here, the top 3 slots have been filled. This is going to fill blocks from left to right and top to bottom. So that means that the next thing we're going to need is some sticks, of course. However, when we place a stick in here, what's it going to do? Because it placed things in a certain order, the stick's going to be in the wrong location, meaning this is wrong. Now, if you screw up, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is right click with the Wander the Forest, and if nothing can be crafted, it will just dump everything out. So let's start again. So we're going to place 1, 2, 3 of these in here. We get them in the same place. And next, we're going to need one of these crafting placeholders. This is essentially going to show the crafting crate how where an empty space is. So now we've got that place in. Now we're going to need a stick and then another placeholder. And that row is now done. So we just copy that again. So we're obviously going to need 1 more of these, another one of these. And if we place 1 more in, what's going to happen? It's going to automatically drop out anything that can be crafted, the extra crafting placeholders, as well as anything that isn't used up in the craft. So say you had something in here like a cake, obviously you have a bucket of milk, it's going to throw out your bucket empty in here as well. So you need some way to place these and pick these things all up. Now, sometimes it's not actually going to craft the stuff that's inside. If you do it a little bit too slow or something, sometimes it doesn't craft. If it doesn't craft, just simply right click it with the Wander of the Forest and it will spit out your item. But obviously when it's filled and something can be crafted, it will try to spit it out automatically. Now, there is something you can do. Obviously, you're going to have to do something with timings if you want to make a load of pickaxes. But if you want to make something on repeat without having to do all this other gummins with the crafting placement, say you want to make a load of furnaces, what you can do is actually make filters. There are 9 different filters in total. This is one of them. They are made using redstone and the crafting placeholders. Now, inside of the book here, it will actually show you all the different types. Here you can see it's just cycling through them. So there's the furnace one. Here's simple. Well, you can see these are all the different ones. So the red is going to be where items can go, and the placeholder one is where items will no longer be. So we want to make a furnace, you can see here. So we get this, all we have to do is right click it. It's going to visually represent what our filter is. So the red dot means nothing can enter in the red. So if we now get a load of cobblestone here, we can simply make a infinite amount of furnaces if we so wish, and this is just going to automatically craft them one at a time, as you can see here, and skip that one area. So the filters are more useful when you're using one type of block. Obviously you probably can configure it to still drop in a certain way, but unfortunately there's no sort of filters in order to make all the different tools, so you can't make a filter for a pickaxe and then time having things dropped in, unfortunately. So you'll find your different use cases. Obviously there's 9 different filters, so I'm sure you can do many different things with that. The next item is the Drum of Gathering. This is an upgrade to the other Drum of the Wild sort of things. Now this is using an elemental ingot, 6 dream wood, regular dream wood, and 2 pieces of leather. Now what this to do is automatically shear and milk any animals that are nearby. So I've got this one here. Now we are going to use our mana tablet here and a mana blaster in order to activate this. Now in order for this to work, you are going to obviously have to supply this drum with some mana. So we've supplied that there. As you can see, it's given out a little boost, and it's now shearing our little sheep here. As you can see, the cows haven't actually dropped any milk. You do have to actually supply the empty buckets within the area. So if I just throw down a load of empty buckets on the floor and then start firing at this thing, as you can see, it's going to start milking things one at a time. Now, obviously, there's a bit of a cooldown to when you can actually milk cows, so you can't just constantly milk and milk and milk. The next item is probably going to be classed as a little bit of an upgrade as well, but first we're going to need to know how to make these framed dreamwood planks. Obviously, getting ordinary dreamwood planks, you're going to have to place them like this in order to get framed dreamwood planks, and you get 4 of these in total. And then if you place 4 dreamwood planks like this, you'll get the patterned framed dreamwood planks. You also get 4 of these. Putting them together in this configuration with 2 regular dreamwood and a piece of pixie dust, you're going to get the Spectral Platform. Now, the Spectral Platform is very, very similar to the Abstruse Platform, which we covered a little bit before. Now, the Abstruse Platform is over here, just for a quick repeat. The Abstruse Platform allows you to basically walk through the platform, you can go up through the bottom. However, when you are on top, you can actually, it's tangible. You can actually stand on it on the top until you hold shift. The Spectral Platform is very, very similar, but different the same way. It can't be phased through in any single way. You can just phase through it, and you can't actually go through the top of it. So this allows you to create cool things like this here, where you can actually create them and have them as sort of facades, because obviously you can paint these as well however you want. Everything is the exact same as the Truth Platform, except it's completely ineffable. You cannot touch it in any way, shape or form. But something you can do with a Spectral Platform is combine that with a rail, and this will give you Spectral Rails. This, when you craft it, you only get it's a 1-to-1, but it's a pretty cool way of having minecarts travel around. So the first thing it's going to allow us to do is if we get ourselves a minecart here, and then we place this down, obviously with a powered rail, we're going to get this Spectral cart. If I jump inside of it now, what it's going to do is allow us to actually float a little bit, and then it will eventually lose its effect, and it will jump to the next one, as you can see here, which is pretty cool. So let's break that, and I've apparently broken everything else. So that's pretty cool. You can make a roller coaster with you being able to fly. However, something else that it actually allows you to do if I'm not inside of it is if I set this go, obviously make it fly again. But something else you can do, it allows minecarts to actually go through walls, you can see here, allowing it to travel much further or out of the base or into the base, however you so wish. However, sometimes you don't really want it to fly all to the maximum. The last thing that it can do is that if you have any type of dreamwood, this means that you could have sort of regular dreamwood, the frame dreamwood, the dreamwood planks. What we can do is if we actually place this dreamwood just out, say in the open somewhere like this, if we send this all a long way again, the minecart is going to lose its effect when it touches any different type of dreamwood. So as you can see, it now hits that dreamwood. It does allow it to pass through it, but then it's going to lose its flying effect, meaning it can't actually reach up to the next level, as you can see here. So it's going to take a bit of trial and error, but there is some cool ways that you can have minecarts, say with minecart chests going around, or minecart mana portals, which you can do. I think you can do minecart spreaders as well. You can make many cool sort of roller coaster things inside of your world. Now for today, that is everything I'm going to be showing off with the advanced stuff when it comes to Botania. However, next time there are going to be many more advanced things you can do. There are many things that I'm only just discovering for myself as well, so I'm looking forward to teaching you guys all those things. But if you want to learn more about the natural apparatus and how to actually get to this advanced stage inside of Botania, either click the natural apparatus video on screen now or the previous tutorial where we learned how to make all the pixie dust and the elemental ingots. But until next time, guys, take care.